Washington State. And today we are having a special guest here, join with me directly from Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. This is a special guest in my program. Her name is Nana Abena. Nana Abena. Good evening in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. How are you, Miss Nana Abena?
Greetings and good evening, good morning to you. I'm
Thank you.
yes, I'm doing well, thank you. It's
It
a
is my
pleasure
great.
to be here.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you very much. It is also my pleasure to welcome here today, and we are going to have a very nice and very productive conversation between me and you. Would cover so many subjects regarding uh, yourself, your organization, and your institution as a whole in Tanzania. Let me beginning for yourself to introduce to my audience. Please welcome Madame Nana Abena. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here, and thank you for taking the time
Thank you.
yeah, to have this conversation with me. I'm Nana Abena Grace James, and I'm the CEO and managing director for Merita Technologies, which is a software development company located in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. We've been here this year going on 6 years, and we focus a lot on training and mobile application creations. And I'm also the chairperson for the sixth region African Diaspora Alliance in Tanzania. And that's an NGO that's an international NGO that was created to help the historic diaspora who wants to move to Tanzania. So, like the African Americans or African descendants from Britain or from the Caribbean that wants to move to Tanzania, we usually help them with information, what it's like on the ground. When they get here, we also help them to settle in, refer them to some service providers, and then we also have uh, various ways that can then, once they've settled in, help them to really integrate and to contribute to Tanzania. So we have a few projects that those who are in Tanzania can really support the development in a country. So that's me, the two hats that I
Thank you.
wear. Yes.
It's really very, very productive introduction to me and very, very well. First of all, as I know your name is Nana Abena. And also, I'd like to know where is you coming from actually? Are you born in U.S. originally as a motherland, or just as this is additional question before moving
Hmm.
forward?
Hmm.
Audience would like to know the
Yes.
reason why where you come from in particular.
Yes. I was born in Jamaica. So, Jamaica, and just based on various things in my family history, we've determined that my matrilineal side, my mother's side, is from Ghana, from the Akan tribe. And I've gone back to Ghana, connected with a family there. Um, and I was given the name Abena and the title Nana based on the work that I've been doing in the community in Ghana. So that's where that connection is. My father's side, I didn't do a DNA, so I'm not sure. And, something tells me he's from the east side. So hence why I'm here in Tanzania. Yes.
What is the definition of what Nana? Because I know in Africa, particularly in Ghana, I studied a little bit about Ghana history. Nana is something like a chief, correct? It's
Um,
like a chief in terms of Ghanaian culture or Ghanaian the way of ancestors they are.
yeah, it's similar. It's but in hierarchy, it's below the chief. So So it's a title that's given to someone who have done a lot in the community. So for instance, myself, I helped several families there. Started a project that worked with the government, and it ended up getting several awards. And we have since then done more with that project to now where we're providing, um, it's a biofuel project. And so now we're
Hmm.
providing electricity for the town where the facility is located. And so it's just doing a lot of things that's benefiting people, having a presence, really being of help to the society. And
Yes.
so, yeah, so that's how I'd gotten that name. So that's given to someone um, that's, it's kind, I guess in the African American um, convention, it would be like Big Mama. So, even though I'm not an elder as yet in some sense. I'm still
Yes.
working. I haven't retired yet, but
Yes.
I'm up there in age. And then I
Yes.
have a lot of experience behind me, and
Yes.
I've impacted a lot of lives.
Yes.
And then so that title is given to somebody who does that.
Yes, madam. Actually, we've been in contact between me and you for quite some times.
Mm-hmm.
And my reloc do I say, how do I know you? I
Right.
know you
Yeah.
through my good friends here,
Yes.
Mr. Ron Taplin. His name is Kamau, known
Yes.
as Kamau.
Yes.
How, first of all, I would like to know how you be involved
Mm-hmm.
with this, what we call
Our,
SRDC.
mm-hmm.
Just tell me the history, how you be
Okay.
involved yourself.
Okay.
And then second question, within this question also, I would like to know how you end up being living in Tanzania
Mm-hmm. Okay.
and then creating this what we call six regional diaspora alliances.
Mm-hmm.
Just tell the audience and myself.
Okay. All right, so it goes back a ways. I was living in LA many years ago. I'm thinking 2000 and I think it's 2007, 2008. Um, I was living in LA, and I already have had my connections in Ghana. I had already started the Gary factory, and we were doing a lot of things in the community. So I was going back and forth, right, from the U.S. to Ghana. So I was in LA, and I saw a flyer for a conference, a Pan African conference that was being held in LA, and it got my attention. And so I said, you know what? Let me see what Americans, African Americans, are doing on the ground that's connecting them to the continent, right? Because before that, it was just me, my company, doing our thing, right? So I went to the conference, and that's where it was being put on by um, SRDC in partnership with Africa USA Chamber of Commerce. So that was the first conference I went to, and I was really impressed by what they were doing. I've gone to other events before, but I could not feel nor see the direct connection or how they're really making an impact on the ground, right? But this conference was different. So I saw um, people from various African countries who were in attendance. So we're talking about live, direct, impactful conversations that were being had. They were talking about projects that we're doing in various countries on the ground. And you could see even those from different countries in Africa. At the time, it was mostly Nigeria that were really connecting with the people African Americans in LA that were doing projects on the ground, So I realized, no, this is for real. This is not just somebody talking about Pan-Africanism and not doing anything. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Um, and so I was really impressed. I was moved. And I said, you know what? This is an organization that I can work with because they're actually really doing something. And so that's how I met SRDC, and I decided to become a member. And when I introduced them to the work, um, I attended several of the conference and the town hall meetings in various states. And yeah, and then so
It
shortly.
is like in a chapter, is that right?
Yes, yes,
Yes.
because they have different chapters in different states. And so I started to really support the organization that way. And then shortly after, they held their first conference in Ghana, and I participated in that. And at the,
When it was. When it
this
was.
was 2000 and oh yeah, I think it was the same year, around 2008 maybe. But I remember I was in Ghana because I lived in Ghana also, right? And
Hmm.
so it was just great. I worked with the organization on the various projects that they were going to visit, the site visits, helped with that, and just really, and I was really impressed and um, happy that I did make the decision to work with them because they're serious. Out of that conference, several projects, several connections were made with people in the U.S. To start a business, invest, contribute, help them to find markets. So it was really really a successful event. So since then,
Hmm.
yeah, I've been with the organization. Um, and one of the town halls was held in Seattle. And so I met, yeah, Brother Kamau,
Yes.
and got to meet a bunch of other people in Seattle, Washington.
Yes, I think that if I recall that
hmm
meeting, I was attended that meeting. It was in City University,
Yes, it
correct?
was. Yes, yes. Oh my goodness.
I was there. I was there myself. I was invited by Mr. Kamau. We've
Yes.
been talking together for so many years how we can do
hmm
something in Africa.
Yeah,
Let
yeah,
me
yeah.
let me
Wow.
touch base in another area now. I will touch base in third question to you.
hmm
As a founder of well, that's the as a founder of the Merita Technology Company Software
hmm
operation, it is office in Tanzania
hmm
and multiple country in Africa.
hmm
Please tell me
hmm
a little bit about your leadership role, both technology
hmm
and advocacy,
hmm
Pan African advocacy. How you
hmm
combine these two together?
Okay, how do I combine those two together?
Yes, please.
Yes, get very little sleep and
Mm-hmm.
constantly working. So, but to answer your question, so my husband and I, we've been in the software development industry for many years. Now we're looking at almost 40 years. Um,
Really?
and yes, and we
Okay.
have our company. We had started our company in the U.S., and so we were doing software development for large companies internationally. Most of our clients were in the U.S. and some outside. And so when we decided to repatriate, um, as I mentioned earlier, my origin is from Jamaica, and I think that is a big part of where I am and who I am today, because you have the everybody knows our reggae music and knows of Bob Marley, and
Yeah, I grew up that.
right, and so a lot of, especially in our art, both you know s- uh, songs and poetry and you know various different art that you find in a society connects us to Africa. And so, while I was growing up, that was always in the back of my head, um, our African connection. So, in just living my life when I went to the US, I see even with the connection with the SRDC, that Pan-Africanism was still a part of me and my daily life, right? And so it was not strange that um, 31 years ago, when I did go to Ghana, made that connection, had a family there. Some of my family, blood family, actually moved to Ghana as well. I have an uncle that moved to Ethiopia. So it's been in my, bloodline to really come back home. We always looked at Africa as our motherland, right? So no matter
Of
where
course,
we
yes.
are, yeah. So when both my daughters had graduated university, I said, okay, so this is the time when we can go. And going back to Africa all the time, we see where we can contribute to the growth and development of the continent and whichever country we're in. And so it was
Okay.
that decision was already made for us. And so we moved when we repatriated because our experience had been in the IT industry. That is what we know. That's why we started our company in Africa. We initially started in Ethiopia and then we moved to Kenya. And so Merita Technologies has an office in Kenya. And now that I'm in Tanzania, we have a office here. So this is, like I said, almost 40 years in this industry, doing projects with all kinds of companies, no specific industry. And so that's what we're bringing, as our contribution to the growth and development of the continent and of the country that we're living in. So whichever way we find possible in Tanzania, a lot of it is more training because as compared to maybe Nigeria and Kenya and South Africa, there's a lot of space for development of the IT industry in Tanzania, and so we thought it best to go into training we have a training portal that we offer training one-on-one or to institutions that want to train people. So we have that going in Tanzania and then just working on projects. So that's really why we're in that industry, and that's how we got started here doing IT. Yeah.
All right. All right, madam. Fantastic. Fantastic. Let me get out a little bit out of your company. Now I'll cover a little bit another question here. For many years, since abolition of slavery in America and around the globe, this can be a sensitive question here. Movement of African Americans is connection to their motherland in Africa. Could you please share your understanding and knowledge of integration of African people who descend of the continent from Caribbeans, where you come from, America, and few from Latin America? How do you understand all these integrations?
Okay. So like I mentioned before, it's a very strong part of the Jamaican culture, our connection to Africa. Just based on our language has a lot of various African languages built into what we speak in Jamaica today. And our music, our dance, everything about us, you see Africa in it, right? So we know that. And then coming to the U.S., you also see in so much of the culture, you see that connection to the motherland. And so um, it goes without saying that at some point, many of us are going to heed that call to return, right, to our motherland.
Yeah,
For those,
of course.
and even myself, I've done um, NGO work in the U.S. and I've also done it in Ghana and in Ethiopia. And honestly, what I see is I can see a strong impact, you know, amongst various societies, various communities in terms of the work, helping the people. You know, I see how it's impactful. So anybody that has ever come on any trip to anywhere in the continent and have really done any social work, it's really inviting, it's really encouraging for them to come. And so with all of that being said,
Mhm.
yeah, it's not surprising that um, this has been a thing for many years.
Mhm.
And then when you look back at the historical part of it, various attempts have been made by various organizations to send people back to Africa. You know, we know the history of Liberia, and there's other places where, yeah,
Of course, yes.
yeah, even institutions, white institutions, in America and around the world knows that we're from Africa and have tried several times to send us back. Um, but now, fast forward to recent times, the Liberian government has come to several countries back then, and asked that African descendants come back to Africa, come back to Liberia to help to develop the country, right? Um, His Majesty Haile Selassie did the same thing, came to Jamaica, made that connection.
Yes.
So and invited us to come back, invited the African descendants around the world. It wasn't just Jamaica he invited, but Jamaicans were one of those who took it upon themselves to go, right? So you have that. Fast forward now to not fast forward, but come now to Tanzania. Mwalimu Julius Nyerere came to Jamaica in 1974 and invited Jamaicans to come to Tanzania to help, to build, to contribute, to live in Tanzania. So we've gotten direct invitations to come
Of
home.
course.
So when the African Union in 2003 created the sixth region in acknowledging African descendants outside the continent and invited us to come back to help, to contribute, to participate, it wasn't strange to many of us. And so now we're having it from this organization that's the organization that all of the African countries are connected to, that has now said, okay, officially, you guys come. And so we've all heeded that call. So I just wanted to share, people have been coming back for many years from various places, but also when I'm here in Tanzania and anybody asks me why I'm here, Julius Nyerere invited me to come. Yeah?
Well,
And
I believe you.
I'm
Yeah, I
here.
believe it.
Exactly.
If I remember very well, one of the very prominent academic in Jamaica, Walter Rodney.
Yes.
Walter Rodney was one of the best academic. Even Mwalimu Nyerere,
Yes.
when Walter Rodney died, I just cover some other element according what you explained.
Mm-hmm.
Mwalimu Nyerere was very sad when Walter
Mm-hmm.
Rodney was
Mm-hmm.
passed away and was
Mm-hmm.
killed.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's a long story.
It
It's a long
is. It
story, and
is. It is.
I hope many of people listen to us today. They will understand who you are and why
Mm-hmm.
you are in Tanzania.
Mm-hmm.
Let me touch another base here, Madam
Mm-hmm.
Nana. You are the chairperson of the 6th Regional Diaspora Alliances in Tanzania.
Yes.
Is a
Yes.
civic society. Do I say civic society?
Yes. Yes, it is. It is.
Civil society.
Mm-hmm.
Advocate to serve
Mm-hmm.
and facilitate right to return through relocation guidance.
Mm-hmm.
Can you clarify
Mm-hmm.
other core mission of this organization to support community
Mm-hmm.
of local citizens
Mm-hmm.
for sustainable development
Mm-hmm.
in Tanzania?
Mm-hmm.
And second question to you, government of Tanzania allowed you to open new chapter
Mm-hmm.
for Merita technology. How do you feel about daily life and collaboration of the people since you are moved to Tanzania, conducting your business for IT and software technology?
Mm-hmm.
Any new transformation of the industry or change mindset of Tanzanian people through the IT technology?
Okay, so that's a big question. But
Yes,
okay, but before I do that, let me just make a couple of clarification in something you said in the last with the last question. So
yes.
Walter Rodney, he's not Jamaican. He's from Guyana.
Guyana,
Yes.
sorry. It
So
is
no,
Guyana,
yeah, no
yes.
worries. He's Guyanese.
Yes.
And however, we I think I know where the connection was coming from. But in Tanzania, we in the group originally about 5 people had come from Jamaica right after Mwalimu's invitation, and one of the people who came at that time. He was already a scholar, and he opened up the and started the School of Accountancy. I always get the name, but the School of Accountancy in Arusha, which is still there today, training accountants for Tanzania and actually internationally in East Africa. And so, yeah, so that's where one of the people from Jamaica had made a significant impact in a lasting legacy from Jamaica in Tanzania. So I just
Okay.
wanted to give that clarification. But and I'll since I'm still in that vein, I'll talk about the NGO real quick. So being a member of SRDC and knowing that its primary goal is to organize the people in the African descendants in the U.S. to participate at various levels in Pan-African initiatives, right? So when the African Union issued that created the sixth region and issued that invitation, the SRDC, right, which is the sixth region diaspora caucus, headquartered in LA. They have been working all across the US and in South and Central America and in Jamaica, as far as part of the Caribbean, to organize African descendants with that goal in mind. Yeah. So, being that I'm now on the continent, I'm living here now, and we just know that the work continues. But for those who are coming, we're sort of not in the US anymore, but we're not a Tanzanian citizen. So we're in that space, right? And I
Mhm.
realized that even though this is my fourth country on the continent to live in, so I am familiar with some of the African not just lifestyle, but ways of doing things, even in terms of business. Yeah. So a lot of people who were coming to Tanzania in 2020, when the pandemic was on and a lot of people were coming, some of them needed help, and so I began to help people to settle in, navigate, especially the fact that they did not speak Swahili as well, or understand the culture. So I was helping people. And then I had a conversation with Dr. Horn, who is the chair for SRDC, you know, and also
I
with
know Dr. Horn.
yes. And so people on the ground have been saying, you guys need to form an organization on the ground, because that way you can help people who are in Tanzania better. You can create liaisons with various government departments, doing that sort of thing. Yeah. So that's how the six region TZ, as I call it for short, was born. And so myself, I'm one of the founding members, and we had initially about 15 to 20 people who came together and sanctioned creating this organization. And so since then, we have several projects. We've adopted 3 schools. We do a monthly beach cleanup every month because we are also aware of what's going on with the environment and how it's impacting everyone, wherever you are. So we're in the environment space with our beach cleanup. We're in the education space by supporting the schools, building a well, supporting, giving them school supplies every year. Um, and just several other things that we do. Cultural exchange, we involve the kids. So we've been doing that, and then advocating with the African Union, advocating with the various governments and Department of Governments to say we're African descendants who are now returned to the motherland, and we're in your country. We're not Wazungus. We are not foreigners. We are a different category, those who have come back home. So we call
Good.
ourselves the repatriates because we've repatriated.
Repatriate. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So we're living here
Mhm.
now, whatever we're doing is contributing to the country that we're in. And the alliance part of the six region African
Mhm.
Diaspora Alliance, we also connect with people who are African descendants that have come back to the continent in Ghana, in Sierra Leone, in various African countries, right? And so that's the work that we're doing with the support of SRDC on the ground in Tanzania. Um,
Let me
and
let
and just one more thing, real quick. Because we have a company in technology, the company also supports the projects that the NGO is working on. So we do provide technology to one of the schools that we're supporting and help them in any way the organization can, get the word out there, contribute to some of the events that happens. So that's how the two of them, through me, have been working together. Yeah.
yeah, well, this is very, very, very fascinating one, madam. Let me. You mentioned about how the Tanzanian government, when you register this organization,
Mhm.
feel about you in the beginning. Just these
Okay.
additional questions, and
Right.
then
So,
also one of the area you said 15 people
hmm
is a part of the group of the alliances in Tanzania.
hmm
Is that including Tanzanians that born in Tanzanians or mostly people of descent that
hmm
from
from the
America or
diaspora.
Caribbean or
Mhm.
others? Can you more elaborate in that particular point?
Yes. So we purposefully created an international NGO. And the requirement by the government of Tanzania is if you do have an international NGO, you have to have Tanzanians on your board of directories. So we have three Tanzanians from different walks of life who are on the board of directors for the NGO. However, the membership, those who are members, are from the historic diaspora. So it's African descendants who are from anywhere outside. We have somebody who came here, she was from Australia. Um, but African people who are scattered around the world, but have come to Tanzania. So those are our membership. But we do have Tanzanian on our board of directors. The institutions that we support are Tanzanian institutions. Whenever we're doing any projects or any initiatives, it's with Tanzanian organizations or Tanzanian group of people. So we're here in Tanzania. So as far as answering your question about the government, my experience, and I'm saying this, my experience with various government offices is that one, they did not pay attention that we exist. So we, meaning this group of people who were not born in Tanzania or on the continent, but have chosen to come here. And so we've been kind of like a mystery. Look at it as being weird. Why would you leave America to come to Tanzania? Is some of the questions we faced. Oh, you're from Jamaica. Oh, how are you finding Tanzania? It must be so different. Not understanding that we're Pan Africans in our heart, in our blood. And we bring, many of us are who are here have been in the African culture at some point of our lives, whether we're in the US or we're in the Caribbean. And so we do want to be here. We have determined and decided to move and to live here. So who all of those who have started a business, when we make our profit, we're not like other investors who turn around and send the money back to their country. I know people from different, Asian countries, European countries, when they make profits, they're sending the money back to their families in those countries. Us, the historic diaspora, Pan-Africans, when we move here, when we make a profit, we don't send it back to the US. We're not sending it back to Jamaica. We're reinvesting it, right? Because first of
Yes.
all, it's not a lot of money. We don't have that. But whatever we do have and we find something that we can do, we're gonna contribute to the school, give them school supplies, or I'm gonna buy a house or an apartment in Tanzania. You know what I'm saying? We're reinvesting it
Yes,
in
I
the
believe you.
country.
I believe you, madam. Yeah.
Yeah, so many of the governments people that I've spoken to, they found it like, oh my goodness, oh, I get surprised from them. And so it's been a process to have them understand and accept that we are your cousins who were outside and have now come back home.
Absolutely, madam. Absolutely. Let me make a point here in
Yes,
terms of what people make misery and surprise.
yes,
Maybe we need to educate
yep.
some people definition of being a Pan-Africanist. Definition of Pan-Africanist is not only born in Africa, is continuation of the black movement
Mm-hmm,
across entire globe.
mm-hmm,
That's what I understand is means
mm-hmm,
is.
mm-hmm,
So then I really, unfortunately, people do not understand maybe you while you are living in Tanzania.
mm-hmm.
Person like me, of course I knew exactly why you are there.
Right,
Of course,
right.
it might be one day I'm coming back to join with you and make a better movement. Is that correct? Let me ask you, because we have so many to cover and we have a short period of time here.
Mm-hmm,
Uh, when you see people feel about you
mm-hmm,
and get more miserable while you relocated in Tanzania,
mm-hmm,
how do you understand them? They do understand them is a kind of taboo that you
mm-hmm.
move out from America and move back to Africa and relocated, and how their reaction?
Okay, so some people earlier on, I think I had a lot of surprise. So I was being faced with people being surprised on the continent and off the continent. So so you have people, what even in the US when I say, "Oh, I'm moving to Africa." Yeah, there was a lot of that surprise. Oh my goodness. Oh, really? Wow. You're so brave. I'm like, brave? And it's almost like, I had to say, yeah, I'm gonna be in the city. I'm not gonna be in the safari. So I don't think brave is an applicable term to what I'm doing. But I do know that there was a lot of people who were surprised and curious about life here. And but recently, I think since 2020, 2021, mostly when a lot of people now have started coming, and YouTubers and TikTokers and Instagrammers, the social media people who are here have been now sharing a lot of information, pictures. So people are much more aware now of us, moving to the continent and living our best lives, as they say, and also just doing a lot on the ground here and capitalizing on the opportunities because we have been left out of many of the opportunities on the ground. Us
Mm.
as African people in the US or in the Caribbean or in America, I mean, in the UK, we've been left out of a lot of the opportunities. So now that we're here, we're sharing that. So now we know what happens and how everybody can come and find a place in some country. We have 54 countries, you know?
Yes.
So, yeah.
Let me base one subject here. I hope maybe this one is not actually a sensitive one, but I believe you are on the ground now in Tanzania. But you've also been other three countries before Tanzania.
Yes.
You have been involved and recognized as a forefront supporter of the right to return to the motherland. Particular program launched by former president of Ghana. I hope your name is Nana and his name is Nana.
Right, right. The title.
Nana Akufo, the title in Ghana. So tell me how you witnessed this program. Is that very effective since it was launched? And mostly people understood right to return to Africa is only Ghana. Majority of people understood Ghana. Can you be more elaborated here in terms of how you feel about why is Ghana? Because the former president Nana Akufo
Ado.
launched and Nana Akufo Addo launched this program and a lot of people visiting Ghana. But we have 5 regions in Africa: East African region, Central African region, West African region, which is Ghana mostly the case.
Right.
How we can educate the rest of the other African descent come to relocate in East Africa, particularly Tanzania, Kenya, Uganda, and the rest.
Okay, so it's a big question, but the right to return is actually a UN declaration. It's part of the UN Declaration of Human Rights. So this was in place, I think 1940 something, 42 maybe. It's been around for quite some time. It's actually also in the African Union Charter. When the African Union changed from OAU, right?
OU, yeah,
To
it
the
was
AU.
supervised by our very former diplomat, Dr. Salim Ahmed Salim. He's the creator of African Union.
And
Yes, I hope
and
you know Dr. Salim Ahmed Salim.
of him, yes. And
Yes.
so, it is something that existed years ago in various places. I've actually, in my advocacy work, I've actually been able to read the Constitution for a few countries, about 15. I've also reviewed their Diaspora program for about 30 countries, and they all have it. It's just that it's not been highlighted. It's not been featured. It's not been focused on. And that's why they don't know about it. But it's in their constitution, it's in their charters, it's in the AU charter. So that being said, what Nana Akufo Addo did, it was something that started before him. What he did was bring it to the forefront and made that acknowledgement, right? Building on what our one of our esteemed heroes, Kwame Nkrumah, had already started. You see? So I'm just trying to say that this is not new. It's just not been a focus for people, for our African leaders to do anything about it. So right now, fast forward to now, I am surprised that a lot of the other countries have not done their version of it. So it's not something that, Ghana has to come to Tanzania to do. Tanzania just need to acknowledge. Kenya just needs to acknowledge. Uganda just needs to acknowledge us, that there are African descendants who were not born in their country but want to come. It's just an acknowledgement, and put a program together to help us with the repatriation. There is an organization in Uganda that has almost 60 people from various Caribbean islands from the US who are living in Uganda, right? Our
Yes.
organization here in Tanzania, it's the same thing. We have over 100 people. In Kenya, also the same thing. We have a Caribbean group. We have the Kenya Diaspora Alliance that has a lot of members from the US. So I'm just trying to say is that we are in the countries. Sierra Leone has a strong a small group of people from the US specifically and Jamaica in Sierra Leone. So they should do what Ghana has done. Set aside a festival, do some marketing, acknowledge us who are already here, right? And help use us to help the countries to work on doing something that Ghana did and can bring those who want to come to Tanzania, who wants to come to East Africa, the additional people can come and have an easier pathway to stay because that's the biggest problem. We've had some people who have come here and have had to go back to the US because of the challenges and the cost to stay in the country. Tanzania has one of the highest resident costs for residency in many of the African countries. And so,
Really?
yes, yep.
Oh,
People,
okay.
people,
That's his first time to hear that
yeah,
higher cost
it costs
is
somebody,
higher than other country in Africa.
yep, somebody like me, we're paying $4,000 every 2 years to get our work permit and our residency permit renewed. $4,000.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yep,
Yeah, I
in
hope
Kenya,
the listen.
it's half that.
I hope the listeners and the people of the government will hear today what you're talking about.
Yeah, because
Not
after
intention to criticize, but
right.
awareness.
Oh, it's
Correct?
awareness because again, there have been people who have been in various industries that have actually brought their business to countries on the continent, but because of the cost to renew the permit, they've gone back to the US. And and so I'm saying um, it will be so much easier if under the right to return, a pathway is created for us from the historic diaspora can come back to our motherland, to Tanzania, and find it a bit more affordable to stay because we're contributing to the tax base. When we go to the grocery store, we're paying taxes. When we're
Of course
paying
it
our
is.
rent, right? So we're contributing to the infrastructure that the government is working on. So many things that the government is working on that we can contribute to that. And we're here and we want to stay. But sometimes, we don't have the money, and that's the problem. So that's one of the things I would say is if it is possible for the government to do something like what Ghana did, to then turn around and create a pathway where that makes it easier for us to just come and live, residents, just come and live, right? And do our business. We will employ Tanzanians, we'll pay taxes. The country will benefit, definitely.
Absolutely. Let me touch another subject here. We have so many. I created so many questions, but we have a very limited time.
But we
And
can
then,
come back.
yeah, yes, we can come back.
I
But
can come back.
let me touch another base here. Uh, I understand Pan Africanism has meaningful to you in many aspects. That's the reason why you're on the ground. And
Yes.
then I'm sorry to hear that some other country has not yet ratified this charter to make
Mm-hmm.
sure you're living easily in motherland. I
Mm-hmm.
apologize in that. It's not actually me to apologize, but
Mm-hmm.
it's actually for people who are running the government to rethink themselves
Mm-hmm.
how to welcome people like you
Mm-hmm.
to come to the motherland,
Mm-hmm.
you to contribute. Let
Mm-hmm.
me touch another subject here based on SDRC,
Mm-hmm.
the core mission in Pan Africanism,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And one of the incoming conference is due this year
Mm-hmm.
because based on the limited time of other question I have to
Mm-hmm.
skip and
Mm-hmm.
then come up to this question now.
Mm-hmm.
what's the main core reason to
Mm-hmm.
arrange Pan-Africanism conference in Ghana in October?
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us here today
Yes.
and then how is it conjected this into your organization, Six
Mm-hmm.
Regional Diaspora Alliances
Mm-hmm.
in Tanzania,
Mm-hmm.
and the SDRC core mission
Mm-hmm.
to this meeting in
Mm-hmm.
October 2026 in Ghana, Accra?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so the SRDC, part of their mandate, like I said, is to organize the diaspora, right? And many of us who are living on the continent in various countries are still a part of the diaspora, honestly, right? In various
Yes.
ways. So we're just domiciled in an African country, but we are. So there is still that continued connection with SRDC. Now it hosts a Pan African conference every year, and this year, I think earlier on I mentioned to you that shortly after I became a member, they had a conference in Ghana. So, and that was 20, I think, I can't remember, but 2004, maybe 2005, something like that.
2008.
2008, right? There you go. And so this is the first time since then that they're coming back to Ghana. And Ghana was chosen for many different reasons. I kind of wanted them to come to Tanzania, but
I wish so.
but but because Ghana has done so much to call and attract the historic diaspora to come, right? Also, because of what happened at the UN recently, where Ghana had walked with the torch to have,
Yes, I remember that.
right,
President Mahama.
yes, yes, to have slavery be acknowledged as the worst thing that ever happened to humans on the
Human.
planet,
Yeah.
right? And so with all of that that's going on, Ghana having the headquarters of the AFCFTA, it was very attractive. So we've decided to host the annual Pan-African Conference this year in Ghana, and Six Region TZ, the organization in Tanzania, is partnering, part of the planning team, and also contributing to hosting the conference in Ghana. It's going to be October 6th, 7th, and 8th and 9th. We'll be doing site visits to various projects in Ghana for, investment opportunities. And so we'll be having a host of, it'll be held on the University of Ghana campus, and we'll be having a host of Pan-African scholars, of advocates.
I,
We're having a youth contingent with youth from 10 African countries that are going to be coming into Accra. It's going to be an amazing event. So I'm telling everyone, start making your plans to be in Ghana October 6th. It will be worth it. We'll be connecting with the various organizations on the ground, the African American Association of Ghana, Diaspora, Africa Diaspora 126 plus, the Caribbean Diaspora. So we're mobilizing everybody on the ground in Accra, and we're asking everyone across the US, UK, the Caribbean, East Africa, come on over to Ghana, because now that the African Union has created the framework of engagement for the diaspora, this is the time. We're now at a position where we have actionable items that we're going to be discussing and curating to assist the African Union to implement this framework of engagement and action this framework to allow the 6 region diaspora to come home, to get involved in the building of the African Union and create the Africa we want to see.
yeah, let me finally carve up this conversation. Well, I skipped so many questions. I hope we can have another
Yeah,
discussion.
we have to have part
Uh,
2. So I think you should call this
part two
part
in
1.
terms of in terms of your company. I have never touched a lot of stuff today about Merita technology. I wish I can be able to touch, but we have a limited time of
Right.
discussion today.
Right.
Let me include in our conversation today OAU. OAU is a main framework for African continent to unite Africans themselves. Since it was inception or launch 1963 in Addis Ababa. How do you feel about the OAU? Is an instrumental organization for Africa. You're part Africanist yourself. You live in Ethiopia. You participated in policy makings and other subjects. And how you feel about OAU as an instrumental institution?
Okay, so I think I do in one way I would have preferred for it to stay as the OAU just based on the foundation. But I do understand the transition to the African Union because now, it started when not many of the member states were their own country or were independent. So I do understand that transition. And right now, I think things are being done. It's just some countries are going a bit slow because one of the main not main, but one of the organs or one of the initiatives of the African Union, like the AFCFTA, right? The trade arms, sorry, of the African Union. Not many countries had ratified it. Some countries is only like 3 or 4 years ago. So even though these things were created many years ago, actionizing, if that's a word,
Actionizing, yes.
I just made that up. but making them be actually functional organs, functional processes, it's been a slow path. On a
I can say slow process,
Yeah,
correct?
slow path. So now I think with the acceptance of technology, the acceptance of social media, hopefully we can speed this up so that a lot of what the African Union plans to do when they get together, they whatever they discuss can be moved now to the member states because that's where the bottleneck is. It's where the member states are now putting in action, implementing the things that they discuss at the African Union.
What is your final thought today through this conversation here?
Okay.
We cover so many aspects of Pan Africanism and we left behind some other subject about your company. Hopefully, maybe we can cover next time for the next episode.
Yes.
What is your final thought as yourself living in Tanzania and how do you define your strategy to continue for the people of Tanzania to be aware about Pan-Africanism for people like you?
Yeah.
What is your final thoughts as a person that you dedicate your time for 40 years, I believe, more than 40 years. And I'm so proud of you to become so very passionate person. What is your final thought to the audience and who hear you today around the world?
Okay. So especially across the continent and specifically Tanzania, I want African people to understand that Pan-Africanism is all of the African countries coming together and working effectively and efficiently with each other and include us, the African descendants who were born outside the continent, not because we chose to, but because of what the colonizers did, right? They took our people. My great great grandmother was taken away from some African country when she was 6 years old. She told her children, and her children told her grandchildren. So she was stolen at 6 years old. She didn't have a choice, right? So I was born in Jamaica because of that. and I'm coming back home now. So we want the awareness of the policymakers to include us as a part of Africa under Pan-Africanism because it extends to us, right? And then our people on the ground do not continue to look at me as a Wazungu. Look at me as your cousin, right? Somebody who has gone away for a long time and are now back. You know what I'm saying? Treat me as your brother. Help.
And your sister.
So, exactly. And every time I have an opportunity to help on the ground, I will do that. I will contribute to life being better for you because it means it will be better for me and my grandchildren. That's my parting words.
Thank you very much for your insight about how you understand your Pan-Africanism. And it is also to me very emotional to hear from you what you're thinking about the continent and what you think about the Black people in particular. History is telling us that we need to unite no matter what it is. It's not about the region. It's not about anything else. Where are you coming from? Jamaica, Bahamas, Trinidad and Tobago, Belize, or anywhere. If you touch base in terms of historical background, we are all together.
Africans.
All together. In my personal thought, I can believe that way. I myself am a Pan-Africanist. That's why I joined with the SDRC here in US. With my brother Kamau, we work together to do something, a lot of work in Africa. I think you know that
Exactly. Exactly.
You know very well in many parts of African continent. Thank you, Madam, for joining with me today. It is always a pleasure to see person like you coming and talk and share your thought and experience about Tanzania, about Africa, Pan-Africanism. We will cover a lot sometime in the near future. And today it was a time that we have a very limited time, but thank you very much for joining. And all the best in Tanzania to you and your family. And then I will invite you for the next episode that we can cover some subject related to Merita Technology software company in Tanzania. Thank you, Madam.
You're welcome.
Nana Abena in Tanzania joined with me here directly from Seattle, Washington. Good luck.
Been a pleasure.
Take care
Thank you so much. I'm looking to see you in October in Ghana.
Ghana.
Thank you.
I hope maybe one day if I think about my motherland, which is mostly part of my motherland is Tanzania, and then I come back and join effort with you. If you still around in Tanzania, not relocated another country, we can foster more economical issues and social well-being of the people. So to understand, not to see you as a stranger, to see you as a blood and cousin, and sisters and brothers and sisters in the land of, you know, Africa is a land of civilization, regardless.
The birthplace of civilization,
The birth of civilization. Thank you. Take care of yourself. Thank you for joining with me here today.
Pleasure.
Good luck and
pleasure.
pleasure.
So much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
You're welcome.